Okay, Critter. So here is your centering. Here is Prusa Slicer. I don't know how to do this on purpose, but it appears to do it accidentally. I know how to do it in Simplify, but I don't know how to do it in Prusa. But here's how you do it. Drop the ring. Now drop the ring again. Now it just put both of them there. There's two rings here. Okay. Now I don't know how to do that on purpose, so I'm going to do it again. Drop one, drop two, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this one. It doesn't matter which one. It literally doesn't matter. You're just going to click. And then you see the scale factors here. We're going to unlock this because we want to change two of the dimensions without changing all of the dimensions. So here we have size 40.29. Let's say we want to make, oh, that's cool. It even shows you the direction it's going to change. That's slick. So let's say we want to make it 1 millimeter bigger. Okay, so we're going to change this to 41.29. 41, 41, and 41. There. Now, this hole in the center is still the same size because the other copy is still there. So I'm trying to figure out how to show this to you. You can kind of see it. Yeah, see it there? See, that green one has the smaller hole, which is still the 29 millimeter hole you want, while this other green one here has the new outer dimension. Okay? Now, when you slice this, it's going to treat it like any other slice. Oh, wait a minute. It says only a single object may be printed at a time. That's a load of crap. Oh, that's annoying. Wait a minute. Can I merge them? Edit, select all. Edit. File. I'm trying to avoid having to save it over and over again. Variable layers. I'm not really super familiar with how to use Prusa Slicer, but I know there's a way to do this. I'm going to right click. Merge. Here we go. You merge them. There we go. Now they're merged. Now I should be able to slice them. And oh, I have it set for vase mode. How do we change that? 0.2, 0.2. Let's do 3 perimeters. Yes. We're going to turn off spiralized vase mode. 3 perimeters. 3 top. 3 bottom. Actually, I typically do my centering rings with no top and bottom. Unless only one of them has tops and bottoms. The rest of them, I just print them with infill. So infill, 20% should be more than enough. Why can't I change this? Locked. Why can't I change the fill pattern? I'm on expert. Oh, there we go. I wasn't on expert. So fill pattern grid is what I usually use. I don't know what the infill anchor is. I have no idea what the hell it is. I'm going to leave it alone. Okay. So there we go. There is the centering ring. Now with one this small, you can just add top and bottom layers. So let's say we found out that was not big enough. Can I unmerge? I don't see a way to unmerge. Oh, split. Split to objects. Okay, so now we're split again. So now we have our two. What I do is I make sure I pick this outer one. See how this outer one's bigger? Because I clicked on this outer edge. Well, now I can make it a little bit bigger. Make sure this is unlocked. Let's say we needed 0.5 more. So that's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's going to be 41.8. 41.8. There we go. Now I made it a little bit bigger. Right click again. Select merge. How do we do that? It was just here. I just did it. I'm trying to remember how I did it. Oh, nope. I don't know how to merge it again. I don't know what I clicked to do that. Oh, I had selected all. Edit, select, edit, select all, right click, merge. There we go. So you have to merge and split between each change. Okay? Now we have a new ring that's 41.8, and I can click that and slice that one. Okay, let's say we're a little too big. You know, again, I come in here, I go to split to objects, I select the outer object, I make it a little smaller. Okay, let's go 41.5. 5 and 5, and there you go. Now you can see it's a little bit smaller. So I go again, edit, select all, select all, right click the object, merge. Now it's a single object again. You can do this with anything that's purely radially symmetric like this. So for example, you can do the same thing with the coupler, although the coupler you could just make larger. When you figure out which of these sizes is exactly right for your BT62 tube, then you can apply that same dimension to your coupler. This is not the greatest centering ring because it has a sharp edge. It does not have a bevel. And the lack of a bevel is a problem because if you get the dimension close, it's going to tear up the edge of your body tube. So you really, really want this to have a bevel. So what I would do is I would go into Tinkercad and make one. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. It is stupendously easy. I mean, it is so ridiculously easy to make centering rings in Tinkercad that I'm just going to show you how to do it. So we go to a new design. Now, if you know your dimensions, this is pretty darn easy. I should be able to bevel it as well. You see right here, torus or tube. You grab a tube and you drop the tube in. You do not grab any of these handles to change dimensions. The only one that's safe to change is this one. You can change height. Do not grab any of these other control handles. Use the box. Okay? So we know the, let's say we determine it's 41.5, which is 20.75 with a radius, because this uses radius. So 20.75. My desk is a mess. 75. So there's our radius, 20.75. Okay? We're going to increase the sides to maximum. Now, what is the internal diameter? The internal diameter is 31.45. That's what I use for 29mm motor mount tubes. So, and that's going to be wall thickness. That's going to be the thickness of the wall. So we have 41.5 minus 31.45 is a difference of 10.05 millimeters. So divide that by 2, and you have a 5.025. So we make our wall thickness 5.025. There. Now this should be the correct size. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bevel this a little bit. So we're going to take this and we're going to bevel it. See that? See how we're adding that little bevel? That makes such a big difference when it comes to installing these things in tubes. Not only you're going to accidentally make your centering ring too small because the proper size centering ring keeps catching on the edge of the tube. Because this has a little bevel, it's not going to catch on the edge of the tube. And if you you can make it more rounded, but rounded doesn't print well. So you want to keep it to a 1 segment bevel, and you just want that little bevel. You don't need much. Just that little bevel that lets you install it into the tube without tearing anything up. Sometimes 2 segments helps, because it gives you that little that difference here, but this steep angle doesn't print very well. If you decide you want more angle, what you can do is make this taller and see how it makes the angle taller. All right. And then what you do is you come in here. Technically, you only need one side of the centering ring to be beveled, but it's better to have both. You come in here with a chopping block like that, and you make it about that tall. Close enough. Okay. And if you decide you don't need this much bevel, just duplicate your box. You duplicate your box, lift it up, and you can chop off a little bit of the bevel on top here. Come on. So chop off a little bit of the bevel. Now highlight everything, chop it up. Okay, so now we have that ring. And what we do is we duplicate that again, and we rotate it 180 degrees. And then you lower it until you see the entire bevel. See right there? Right there. Boom. Now we have our own custom centering ring that has a nice bevel. If you want to add a bevel on the inside to make it easier to slide the 29mm tube into place, that's also easy to do. Drop this down to 0. Then you drop in a cone right in the middle. Again, do not touch these dimensions. Use this. Increase the sides to maximum. Turn it into a hole. Highlight it. Center it. Like that. And then take your base dimension and make it the size of your 29mm tube. Well, a little bigger. Or something else you could do for something as simple as this kind of a bevel, because this is not hard work. Hold down your shift key, select this, and just drag up. See how it scales the entire cone? And just keep scaling the entire cone. And just see how I'm chewing away a little bit? See that highlighted area? That's the portion that I'm chewing away. And I'm going to make that a bevel. And then we select and join them. And there you go. Now this will slide easily into your tube, assuming it's the correct size. And you have a nice little bevel here that'll make sliding your 29mm tube in easy without chewing up the edges of your tubes. As you can see, this was even a complex one with multiple parts and stuff like that. And it was super easy. It's really not hard. I mean, you don't need to bevel both ends. You can if you want. I mean, that's easy enough to do. So we take the cone, we duplicate it, we rotate it 180. And then what we do is we select the cone, select the cone, hold on a shift key, select the ring, hit your alignment tool in the upper right hand corner here, select this object. So now we're going to move the cone, we're not going to move the ring, and you want to select this top one right there. Boom. Now you're beveling both edges. The exact same. Select them all, highlight them again, and now you have both ends of the tube beveled. Not thick enough, higher power motor, just thicken it up. Thin it out, whatever you want. You're not changing the outer dimensions, so you don't have to worry about messing with that. Now, the only bad part is by doing all these combinations, we can no longer edit the holes. You'd have to go back and do that manually. If you're going to really get into customizing rings, another way you can do it is to create a cylinder. Maximize the number of segments. Not segments, sides. Okay, we're going to add a bevel, okay, like that. And then we're going to stretch this until we get the bevel we want. And let's see, I like that bevel. And then what we do is we grab this and we bring it up. We get rid of almost all of it. Excuse me. Duplicate it. Shrink the duplicate down, bring it up, and get rid of most of the bevel. We're just going to keep a little bit of the bevel like that. Too much. Then we do that. Join them. Bring this back down lower. Okay, so now we have a basic cylinder with a bevel. We duplicate it. We rotate it 180. And again, we bring it down so that we see both bevels. There it is. I see the other edge of the bevel right there. Boom. Now we have basically our plug, our donut. All right. Now I scale this to the dimensions that we figure out. Let's say we figure out it was 41.5 or 41. We don't know what it is. So 41, 41. So there's my basic centering ring. You know, I make that work. And now I put the cylinder in the middle. This should be down at 0. Always go to 0. And then we know a 29mm tube needs to be 31.45. So I make this 31.45 31.45. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And we center that. Alignment tool. Alignment tool, center, center. All right, now we're also going to want to create our donuts. So I'm going to shorten that a little bit just to make this easier. We create our, well, we can do that later. Let's hollow this out like that. We put our cone in, make it a hollow, increase the sides, center it. Boom, boom. Then we grab the, click nothing, grab the cone, hold down the shift key, and grab that tip while holding the shift key and stretch it until you start chewing away some of the tube. There we go. We're creating our bevel. I think I moved that, so I'm going to recenter it. No, it's good. Oh, it just didn't look like it. Okay, so we're good. Now we join them. That's it. Now we have a centering ring that's beveled to fit inside the tube. And if you don't want it to have a bevel on both ends, you can easily do that too. You do the same thing we just did, except you don't join these two together. You leave them as two separate pieces. All right, so we delete one. There we go. And then we just make this thicker. Now we only have a single beveled edge, because technically you only need one beveled edge. Join it together. Now, if you have to alter the dimensions of this, it's very easy to do. If you're going to keep the same 29mm motor tube, but you want to adapt this to a different size body tube, well, the first thing you do is you select this and you deconstruct. So now you've taken out your 29mm plug and your cone, okay? And what you're going to do is just change the size of this. Let's say we're going to put this in a 60mm tube. 60 and 60. No, I had everything selected. I'm sorry. Unselect, select just the orange piece. Do as I say or die, computer. 60, not 600, you dumbass. 60. Now you select them all, center them again, center, center, and now you have a 29mm to 60mm centering ring. You still have your bevel to make insertion easier, and you still have your exact size that you need in the middle. That's how I do my centering rings. It's very, very easy. The magic trick, it takes a couple extra seconds, but it makes your life so much easier. The magic trick is these bevels. Now, with a super thin ring like you're doing, you might not need the bevels. You notice he has a bevel on the inside? That makes installing that 29mm tube a lot easier. But he doesn't have a bevel on the outside. Or does he? Nope, he's straight edge on the outside. With rings this thin, it's not as big a deal because you can insert the ring sideways and then turn it inside the tube, so you don't tear up the edge of your tube. But as your centering rings get bigger, it becomes more and more of an issue. So you learn to bevel everything. And once you have one centering ring, you're good. I'm going to include a text file with the dimensions that I've come up with so far. Not all of these dimensions have been verified, but here's the different motor sizes that I use. So I used, basically I knew that 31.45 was perfect for the 29mm BMS tubes, and so I just used percentages from there. I just scaled it up to percentages. So this is the dimensions of the tube given by BMS, and this is the percentage difference between those tubes. And so 54mm needs a 58mm cut, 38mm is a 42.5mm cut, 24mm needs a 25.4mm cut, and so far they're working very well. Like, I did find a piece of 24mm tube, and my estimate of 25.4 worked perfectly. I was able to slide the 24mm tube right in there. And so obviously you'd want to verify all of these numbers, but these are the numbers that I've come up with so far for these different size motor mount tubes. You could start creating, you can start creating a list of your own for the different size body tubes that you want to make rings for. You make yourself a test slug and you keep tweaking it. Like, what I would do for yours is not even try to make a custom ring yet. I would just take that existing ring you have and keep changing its dimensions. Don't even worry about the locking in the XYZ. Just change this. Matter of fact, keeping it locked will allow you to have to just change one number. So if I change that number to 42, all the other numbers will change to be equal to it. See how the other one changed to 42 as well? Why can't you see that? Why aren't you seeing that? Oh, you can't see my other numbers. They're on the other screen. These numbers. um, I'm gonna include these in your email when I reply to you again. Um, but that'll be something you'll want to save, and tweak them as you see fit. But remember, tweak your numbers equally. So once you find the right number, don't change that number again. If it doesn't fit, adjust your slicer settings, not the numbers. If you know the number's good, then you're either printing too thick or printing too thin. Don't go changing your numbers all the time because then you're just going to confuse yourself and your parts won't fit when you change printers and crap like that. It's annoying. But just keep tweaking this number here, your X or Y, leave it locked. Keep tweaking that number until you print a sample that fits perfectly inside the tube. Once you have that, write that number down. Write down, keep a 3D printing measure list like I do here. Here's my rocket motor sizes. All right, so you'd add a line item here, BT62 ID, and you'd put that number you came up with. Then when you're in Tinkercad, you can reproduce that anytime you want. You just set your inner and outer diameters or your wall thickness or whatever, or your cutout, whatever you're going to do, and you're perfect every time. Nothing to worry about.